What's going on, everybody? Jackson Fuller here with the Star News, and this is another episode of Zoom Time, and I'm really thrilled to be joined today by Nas Brown, a 2018, right? 2018
Right.
graduate from New Hanover High School, played for the Wildcats state championship team in 2017, part of that amazing trio of linebackers along with Mr. McCaskill and Mr. Daly. Nas, first off, how are you doing, man? How's life been treating you during the pandemic and quarantine and these weird times we're kind of living in?
It's pretty good. Still able to work or whatever, so can't complain too much.
Okay.
And
And kind of update us on your career. I know you started at Averett University as a freshman. Where are you now, and how's the football career been treating you?
right now I was at Avery, but right now I'm at Fayetteville State and making some couple moves right there. So under construction right now. So
Awesome. You still playing linebacker over there at Fayetteville State?
yeah,
Are you,
still for
are
long.
you staying in the middle, or are you outside linebacker right
I'm
now?
still trying to stay inside. Still
Okay.
be inside.
Yeah. One of the reasons for everyone here that's watching that I wanted to have Nas on today is I reached out to a bunch of local coaches and some players here trying to see if there was any high school athletes that attended one of our Wilmington protests downtown in light of the terrible murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis a couple weeks ago. And Coach Fuller, the New Hanover defensive coordinator, told me that he knew Nas had attended at least one. And Nas, just kind of talk to me about, what was it like attending the protest? When did you go, and what was kind of motivated you to go out there and be with the Wilmington community at those protests downtown?
Man, I went the first day it occurred when it happened or whatever. I just went down there, it was inside my heart to go down there and just to see how we all got together and stand up against something that is so serious in this world, and just see all us come together as one was something great. And I have not been down there ever since then, but I felt like I should be on the front line with posters and everything like that. I should be doing that, but I salute everyone that is out there on the front line and still doing their job and making sure we get our message out there.
I know, and I know it's you are a busy man. We've tried to set up this interview for the past week or so, and we've both been pretty busy. So, the first one was in the rain, wasn't it? On that first Saturday, I think. Was it raining out there while you were there?
Yeah. On the that afternoon, I went towards the nighttime.
Okay. When you think about being out there, and the one thing that's kind of been emotional for me watching this kind of this what's going on in our country right now is this isn't just happening in Minneapolis, it's happening in New York, San Francisco, but it's even happening here in our hometown of Wilmington. I mean, how much pride does it give you that there's a community here in Wilmington that's willing to fight for the cause, the Black Lives Matter cause, and really try and get their voices heard out there, even when it's not something that, at least this murder didn't directly, impact Wilmington's area, even though the systematic oppression, of course, is impacting everyone everywhere right now.
Yeah, see, I don't know how the other places is, but from being in Wilmington and seeing how things is handled with the justice system and the police, it is almost like iffy with the Black community. But seeing everyone down there, and it was peaceful. But then you got the Wilmington Police Department and everyone else didn't make it so peaceful. We was just down there being peaceful. So it's almost like a metaphor with the situation. It's like we was down there being peaceful, but now it erupted to the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for us to come together as one, that was a great thing. But it's like a problem that is going to take a lot of redoing. A
lot of hard work from everyone involved. And I will say, I know early, I think the first couple, there might have been some non-peaceful moments, but if I'm remembering correctly from what I've seen from our coverage in the news stations, I think it has stayed pretty peaceful over the past couple of weeks or past week or so, as it's kind of continued on, which is a good sign. And hopefully, that's what we're all after, is the peaceful protests. Of course, as personally, I'm not going to speak for, I don't have the same experiences that the Black community does. And if their anger boils over to violence, there's no reason that I can go against that because of what has, that experience and stuff. But Nas, how comfortable have you been in the past, when, let's go back to your time at New Hanover, or, even just in high school in general, not only with the football team, how comfortable have you been having that discussion with your, white teammates or white classmates about this movement. Even Colin Kaepernick, for
Yeah.
example, who was such a villain when it first started. I mean, was there any comfort at all having that discussion?
See, with high school, I'm like one of the guys that's known to speak out for any of that. Like I was like history class, people know I'm gonna speak on it. So with me, I didn't care what came out my mouth about when it came to Black history. That right there, I'm gonna say how I feel about the situation. So, and like one of the guys I did run down to at the protest, I used to talk about it a lot on the bus. And he used to sit there and grew at me. I'm like, whatever. But as I get down and I see he's one of the guys on the front line, he's a white person. And he's there, and he's on the front line standing up for us. So I see that he was about his word when we was having those conversations. Cause like I did my senior project on being Black in America. I did in my sophomore year, I did a project on Malcolm X. So since I was a youngin, I always knew the problems that was going on, and I never was afraid to speak out about it. With Kaepernick, I had a blog. I try to talk to some people about it. And what his situation is like, they just took that and ran with it and flipped it the whole different scenario to where you made it about the military, and it was not about the military. It was about a whole different situation. So it's like, we try to stand up for something, and then someone try to flip it or whatever. But at the end of the day, as long as you still keep your word and stand up for what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with that. So I always been comfortable with saying how I felt about certain situations and how I look at this and that. And that's one thing I can always speak on about and not have a problem with.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I think, and that's definitely a level of maturity that, I feel like I'm comfortable having that discussion as well now, but as a sophomore in high schooler, I definitely wasn't comfortable with having that discussion. So, when you think about, do you feel like now that this is happening, these protests across the country, and it's turned into something where maybe the Black Lives Matter movement was, 50-50 in the minds of Americans, and now it seems like everyone kind of is understanding. You think that you feel like that this is going to last into the future and people will continue to be comfortable having this discussion? Or are you kind of skeptical and thinking that this might just be another, phase in society where we're going through a moment and we might forget about it down the road?
See, with that is I think we got more people more aware. And some other race might actually see what we do go through, and maybe now they kind of more on their toes about it. But I had, with my senior project, I asked what could have been changed, what can help change or what make change. And I got 3 points slipping off because I told them I don't see a change really, because it feel like with us is like it's like a tire. We might go flat and then something happens, we get pumped up, then we get rolling, and then it might die down and go flat again. And then that's with this situation, the world is more into it, but like it might can be another phase or anything. But I think it's going to take more than the people. It's going to take way more than that. It's going to take us with the politicians and everyone else in this whole wide world to come together. And I feel like we got to go back to the books, to the Constitution, to the amendments, to all that in order to make a true justice change. Because you look back in those times, those was made during slavery time. So how was that? And our race was for slaves. So if that was made back then, how is that conquered for us now? So I feel like we got to go way back and fix those, and it had to be a whole reconstruction if anything ever going to be fixed.
Interesting. When you think about the high school sports community, what can players, coaches, journalists, what can just the entire high school sports community kind of think about, and what are some words of wisdom or advice that you maybe have for your fellow, your white teammates, your white coaches that, want to join the fight, but maybe don't realize in some ways which they're hurting the cause?
Yeah, like especially being at Hanover, we consider being the hood. We in the hood, as people consider that, or a lot of people call it downtown, or some might consider the hood as in Hanover, period. But for us as a team and thing, we all united or whatever, and then like we might all be together that 1 minute, and then after game over, they might still have this animosity against someone or something like that. So when it comes down to teammates, when you're around guys all day, you're not going to hate each other all day 24/7 because you're on the same team with each other. So when it comes to that, I feel like you'll know who don't really like who and this and that. So when it comes to being a community as a football team, that should be all right. But with parents, you know, sometimes they might ask questions or things like that. Your white friends' parents might ask you questions or anything like that. They might not notice how it's coming off, but it could be pretty racist, but they might not ask. It might be, you know, it might be a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you asking that? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's being ignorant to the fact. It's not really their fault. It's some things that maybe we have to step up and let them know too. But in certain situations, like, you should know that. You should know you shouldn't ask a person that question.
Mm-hmm.
Or things like that. And when it comes to the journalists, it's like, with the news period, I see y'all news period. I see y'all like took down the mug shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, y'all can be in our face on Friday night, and then something happened on Wednesday that don't got nothing to do with sports. And it's not y'all fault because y'all handle the sports area. The news person might, New Hanover player did this and that, and does this big old parrot, this whole thing, and write this like they know their life story. And then now you got people looking at us like we're crazy, but just on Friday night, it was in our face doing this for us. But right behind our back, you know, it can be like when you guys might be like, hey, you shouldn't write that letter on them about that, you know. Just do the little article about that. You shouldn't put this much in there and something like that. You know, just stuffing in to where it's not too much of a big story on a small situation.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
But and the community-wise, it's like on Friday night, can be watching us play. Now I don't know who we are, but watching us play and turn us on, don't know who we are because our helmet, and the next day might call us the N-word or something. Don't even know how just that guy you was cheering for. So it's like, as a athlete, it's like, geez, like, come on, man.
Yeah, I might be oversimplifying it here, but just an increase in self-awareness, I think, and how, you know, our words and actions, you know, might not only impact ourselves, but impact other people, especially people that come from different backgrounds and different homes and different places of where they grew up and different lifestyles as well. So, I mean, yeah, and I understand your point about, you know, as journalists that, you know, we can glorify you up on Fridays and then tear you down as quickly as possible if something wrong happens. And that's something that, you know, we're responsible for reporting the news, but maybe we, you know, just because it's a New Hanover football player, you know, maybe it's, you know, it's not just, you know, you're not just a New Hanover football player, you're a human being, and we need to do our best at reporting the accurate news and making sure that we know exactly what we're talking about, and not just labeling, hey, New Hanover football player to get to garner the clicks and stuff. And I'm interested that you noticed that we took down our mug shots, because that's a very recent change, and a lot of people are complaining about it. A lot of people are praising us for it. I personally think it's a great decision, and but that's absolutely a content driver for us. You know, we get a lot of clicks on that, but that doesn't make it the right thing to do. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot of people, you know, hopefully we start seeing people, organizations, community members, politicians starting to make the decision that doesn't drive clicks, but the decision that is just the right thing to do in these times.
Yeah.
What do you, I know we talked about this a little bit before jumping on, but Bucky Brooks, an NFL analyst who played for Coach Earl Smith at Millbrook High School, gave quite a few nice words about Coach Earl Smith on TV the other day. And I know he was your head coach at New Hanover. What can you say about Coach Smith? I know from what I can gather, he's really been a brilliant kind of coach and advocate and really done a lot for his players over the years.
Yeah, coming with him coaching to us as color, he would probably be colorblind to that. When it comes down to that, it was never, that person white, this person black, any type of situation. If it was, it's more so I might help them more out because I know their situation, or probably more so they might need more help than you fellas over here do. Anything like that. But when it comes to the race, he was colorblind. I never seen no difference in any way he treat anyone. So about the race of how they look. So when it comes to that, I can say Coach Smith was above everything on that one. So.
And how valuable is that, just as when you're going through your high school years, your formative years, to have people, not only a coach, but just someone in a leadership position that you genuinely respect, you know, how they're viewing you and treating you, because I know that that's not the case for all leaders in our country right now.
Yeah, I think what the world is, you know, you got to give respect, get respect, and that's how Coach Smith was. You know, he gonna give you respect as long as you respect him, and that's how he lived by his motto. And if you respect him, you got all the respect back. You know, as a coach, so you mess up, you know, you mess up, but more wise and helping everyone, he did a great job with that. So can't no complaints about him.
Awesome, Nas. Well, let's get you out of here with a couple fun questions. First off, what do you remember most about that night at Wallace Wade Stadium, winning a state championship? Is there a play, a moment, a point in the celebration? When you think about that night of being a New Hanover State Championship, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
When they cheated me out my strip fumble. I hit the dude, and I took the ball while I was hitting him, and I had the ball, but they didn't call it, so a dude pushed me, and I flopped. And I rerun and look at people's reaction in the background. I see them laughing. I was like, you know, I was so serious that whole game. I was like, I wish I was playing around a little bit more. But that's one of my memories right there.
Nice. I don't know if me and Coach, I don't know if you saw it, Coach Fuller and I did one of these Zoom interviews, and we kind of went back and discussed the state championship. So for anyone here that's watching and interested in watching that, we have a whole interview just kind of going over that state championship game. You can find that on our Star News YouTube channel. And last question for you, Nas. Sports are slowly coming back into our lives, but not quite yet. If you could snap your fingers right now and get one sport on your TV and in your life that you could watch for the next month, what would it be? Would it be the NBA playoffs, NFL football, March Madness, golf? What would it be?
Got to be football, man. Got to be college football like that.
Okay.
Got to be.
I know you're at Fayetteville State. Who was your favorite college football team growing up?
Clemson.
Okay. It's a good time to be a Clemson fan. That's for dang sure. So I appreciate it, Nas. Thank you so much for joining me and having this conversation. And, you know, I hopefully, like you said, hopefully the tire doesn't go flat again. Hopefully we're always pumping air into it.
Rolling.
It's still rolling along. So thank you so much for joining me, man. Good luck with this upcoming year at Fayetteville State. And it was great talking to you. We'll talk again soon, man.
Dude.